Yo, what is up, everybody? How you doing? It is your boy, the Birdman from the Birdman Show. You already know what to do. Just want to go ahead and do it with us one time. Boo! Boo! That is right. Hey, yeah. Normally we have music going on here, but I'm having some issues. The audio is not picking up for our music for whatever reason. So it, it it is what it is. It is what it is. I did however, had planned to feature an artist that follow over on TikTok. One of the songs that we're definitely going to be featuring was "Not My Problem" by Pop Out. There's this YouTube handle. You can also catch him on TikTok at official Pop Out. Definitely go follow him, give him a like, tell him the Birdman sent you. Check him out. Uh, we will definitely pop out if you're watching. I'll definitely get that fixed. We'll definitely uh, we're definitely on future in the future anyway. So it is what it is. But we got to move on. We got to do what we got to do. I am joined with my boy Ace. Ace, how the heck you doing?
I'm here.
I feel you. I feel you. I definitely feel you. Yeah, we like I said, we're down. Shane's still working. Good old Hydro, he's still working. He may be able to join us here in a little bit if he gets off working time. So I don't know. This subject room, the topic we're going to be talking about tonight was actually a fan topic by Amber, aka Itzy, over on TikTok, but she couldn't make it tonight either. So you guys are stuck with Ace and I, and you guys already know what happens when Ace and I
It's
are
going to
left
be a
with you
shit show.
guys. So you can go blame Itzy and you can go blame Hydro because it's going to be a doozy tonight. It's definitely going to be a doozy tonight. So I would say I apologize in advance. I
No,
honestly don't.
don't.
I don't. I'm not going to apologize. I don't care. It's not my fault. So we're going to be on supervised tonight. So welcome to the Birdman Show podcast, my pretties. All right, so hey, so we're gonna be talking about tonight the Smiley Face Killer. Now, this was interesting. Number one, first of all, if you're over on YouTube. Definitely say what's up to us. Let's see who we got so far. Christy's saying what's up. We got Tab in the house. What's up, Tabs? Um, don't laugh at me, Tab. Don't laugh at me, Tab. Don't do it because it is what it is. Chris said I can always fill in. This is very true, and we definitely appreciate that. Yeah, so we got you guys over there over on TikTok. Let's get it going, y'all. We got to get those likes up. Get those likes up. Let's try to get to 5K before we get to our first commercial break, if we can. I know you guys can. You guys are phenomenal. So let's get those likes up. Let's get it popping. Let's get it going. But yes, Ace, we're talking about the Smiley Face Killer. Now, until this
Not a
topic was
damn thing.
brought to us, had you heard anything about this?
Nope. Not a
Oh, you're
damn
laughing
thing.
with Okay, thank you, Tab. Thank you for laughing with me. I appreciate that. Makes me feel much better. Yeah, I had neither. I knew nothing about it. So this is going to be a very interesting topic. Like I said, like we normally do, especially when we get fans and people that follow us and support us on the show, and they give us topics. We love to have them on because usually they have a little more insight on these topics than we do. And so it definitely helps us out a little bit as far as research and then generally just basic knowledge. So this is going to be fun. Here's what I'll tell you, and we'll start off with this, Ace. Okay, so between 1997 and 2017, authorities pulled out dead bodies from more than dead bodies of more than 40 men. Lord Jesus, actually, I'm having a stroke again. Out of rivers and lakes in more than 25 cities across 11 states. Okay, most of them were college age, popular and athletic. Nearly all the men had last been seen leaving bars or parties while inebriated. Okay, so I mean that's kind of it is what it is. But here's the reason why that's important because at the time, time and time again, police understandably theorized that the men had become too drunk, wandered too close to the water, and simply fallen in with no hope of climbing out in their intoxicated state. Now, when you hear that, Ace, on face value, like I said, we're on face value right now. All right, before we get into anything, when you hear that on face value, um, what comes to your mind when you hear that?
That's a lot of coincidences. I mean, the age range, the age group, uh, predominantly good upbringing in their family, well off, blue collar kids. The, and the thing of it is I seen somewhere else where it said that it could be upwards of 700
Yeah.
because they the lead investigator Gannon, the lead investigator that was on this case in New York, he moved over to work for the government in unsolved mysteries, and he went over all of the cases that fit the MO and said that it could be upwards of 700 plus. So I mean that's a lot of fucking coincidences.
It is a lot of coincidences. And I don't know where you got your resources from. So this is going to be a fun episode as far as figuring out as we start sharing information with each other. Um, a lot of the information I gathered from my research slash investigation of this whole thing. Um, my research mainly plays on a lot of theories.
Yes.
Um, so it, this is going to be, like I said, it's going to be interesting to kind of figure this out, or at least maybe hopefully make some. No, I'm not even going to say that because we're definitely
We
going
ain't gonna make sense of any of this shit.
to. Yeah,
I'll
it's
go ahead and
just, it's
stop
just.
you right there.
I was going to try to sound somewhat proper when I said that, but that's just not gonna. It's not gonna happen. So I'm gonna quit while I'm ahead on that. Okay, so now, like I said, the police had, they were theorizing that, they just got too drunk, and they wandered too close to the water's edge, fell in, and because they couldn't get out of the water in their toxic state, they just basically drowned.
Right.
Um, so that was their theory. Now, but wait, there's more.
If
But
you
in
act now,
2008, I know, right? But in 2008, two retired New York City police officers turned private investigators who would who'd been looking into the deaths announced their eerie findings. Now, this is where it starts to get real kind of yeah. Okay, so in their findings and everything, they're kind of painted on the walls near the locations where at least a dozen of the bodies were found was the same symbol over and over. And that symbol was a smiley
smiley
face.
face.
Yeah. So I'm going to stop there on my part. What do you have on your information, your research that kind of either coincides with that, or do you have anything that kind of is it just pretty much the same?
Pretty
What do you got?
close. The
Okay.
thing of it is just more than a dozen locations, and the thing of it is you've got to look at the area that they're covering. The police released the fact that it was odd that in several of the locations there was a smiley face graffitied somewhere in the search area. Odd that in several of the locations there.
You all right?
I heard myself.
Oh.
I was like, did I not turn my fucking phone down? But in several of the locations, there was a graffitied smiley face. Now, they let this be known to the public, and the public are the ones that deemed him or them the smiley face killers. But if you look at some of the pictures of the smiley faces that were found at the locations, you can clearly tell that a lot of them weren't new. They were faded. You could see where there were rub marks on them. So, I mean, it just coincidental, possibly, or just certain people within the organized crime syndicate of the smiley face killers that left tokens behind, because they tried to debunk it, saying that not all of the smiley faces were the same, that they were all different. Well, not every person's going to make a smiley face the same.
Right.
And if it is a group of people that are doing this, then it's not necessarily the same person that is tagging every time.
Yeah. Unless they're smart enough to know that if I change my tag every time, no one could ever suspect it's just one person
And there's that too.
or that it's connected
Yeah.
in any way.
Or
I
hey,
mean, this,
I'm not going to put tag this time.
yeah. I mean, I don't, listen, I love my law enforcement. I do. I love you guys very much if you're out there in law enforcement. But sometimes law enforcement gets too much of a one track mind or think that everything needs to fit in a certain box, and they don't know. They sometimes forget how to think outside the box. Um, and there are definitely intelligent enough criminals out there that if they really take their time and they're doing what they're going to do, they can honestly not necessarily maybe get away with it. And there's been quite a few that's gotten away with it. But they can at least throw them off long enough to where they can keep doing what they're doing until they do get caught. It's just crazy. Now, speaking on the graffiti aspect of what you're talking about, given the presence of the graffiti and the similarities among the victims, the two investigators insisted that the deaths had been the work of a serial murderer or a gang of murderers. That's
Yes.
scary. It's like a book club for murderers. Yeah, that's a
Well,
little.
look at the what was it? The Manhattan Mauler.
Yeah, yeah. That's. We haven't done an episode on that one. We'll have to
I
keep
want
that
to
in the
say
back
that
burner.
was a group of people too.
Yeah, yeah. We'll have to keep that one on the back burner. Stay tuned to the next episode of the Birdman Show. Anyways,
Well, for an upcoming episode of the Birdman Show.
yeah, right. But yeah, they insisted they could have been or a gang. Now widely known as the Smiley Face Killer. Um, they're psychopaths. This is a quote. They're psychopaths. No one of no one of the investigators said of the murderer or murderers at the time they have no remorse. So in their initial thinking and everything as they're going through this, they're thinking that it could have been one, but because of the fact that the tagging was different, but there were so many similarities with the murders that it could have been actually a group um, that could have been carrying this out. So they really weren't ruling anything out. To me, by saying that, it kind of sucks because you're like, okay, so we know at least one person did it, but there's a possibility there's three or more, or whatever. If you're talking about if it's a gang, you're talking about maybe 10 or more people
Yeah.
at the least. I mean, I don't know what is I don't know what's the size that defines a gang. Like, I mean, I don't know.
Well, it would depend on what the consensus of the gang is. I
Yeah,
mean, two members, you got a president and vice president. That's a gang.
yeah. Bro. I don't know. That's to me. That's yeah. I don't know. Because like I said, it just kind of really depends to me on what they're kind of classifying what would be a gang, especially in this kind of situation. With the simple fact that this is these are some very heinous crimes that are going on here. And you said that there could be you thought there could be in the upwards of 700 victims.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah, because the article I was reading, and I was looking at, if I can get my mouse to act right here. There we go. Um, it was like it's called "Inside the Disturbing Theory of the Smiley Face Killer and the Baffling Deaths Behind It," and it said since 1997, at least 45 men have mysteriously disappeared after a night at the bar, only to be found dead in a nearby body of water, and some believe the shadowy smiley face killer is to blame. Wow. Okay, so what else? Um, what else did you have as far as that goes?
Um,
And before Roger doing that, and answer your question, Christy. Most cases, no. Most of them don't. Some do. Um, some do because just they may commit the act, but that may not be who they are. It may be that's maybe who they became in that moment. But there are some that are just like that almost from birth.
And
So,
also, the thing of it is they have not arrested anybody for the murders of any of these kids because they're still being ruled as accidental drownings.
okay, so Michael, okay, I know I might be jumping ahead here a little bit. So, any of the research that you did, did it actually did it say there was anything else that could have been a factor other than the fact that they were all intoxicated and they're found by nearby a body of water? Was there anything that indicated that there might have been anything else, any type of other foul play?
Um, all the research that I did, there were no defensive um, marks on the bodies. Um, they didn't beat them up in any way. One of the things that I came across said that the in some of the victims there was high levels of GHB, and for those that don't know what GHB is, it is the drug that is used to drug somebody at a bar to take advantage of them.
Oh, like the old Bill Cosby, Rufy Pilates.
Yes. So when somebody passes, their body produces GHB, but the level of GHB that was in some of the victims was abnormally high. So they believe that they were roofied before leaving the bar, and it was easier for them to be able to abduct them without a fight.
Yeah, because
Um,
I guess before you go, I guess my question would be, all right, okay, so all these men were found near or in a body of water or whatever. Like, like all of them live near a body of water. Like, is it like one of those things where it's like, okay, wait a minute, this person lives on a completely different side of town. Why are they even near this body of water?
exactly. The thing of it is most of the establishments that they were leaving
Hmm.
were near a body of water. And I was
Okay.
trying to prevent saying it like that, Christy, but yes.
Yeah, that's all right because YouTube's a little bit more forgiving. So I'm glad you said it
Yes.
on YouTube and not TikTok.
Had I said that live, we probably would have been shut down over there.
Yeah, almost immediately. Yeah, like it happened
But
the other
yes,
was it like 2 weeks ago?
whether it was a river, a lake, um, it didn't matter. Like I watched a documentary or podcast on one of the victims. The thing that I don't like about the way that they're describing um, all the victims is they're saying that they are predominantly white, but not all of them were white because the victim that I watched the podcast on, he was a young black man who was going to school, had a wife, had a baby, didn't know that his wife was pregnant again, and he was he had just left some friend's house. He was at a restaurant, left the restaurant, went to his friend's house, was only there for like 5 minutes, and then left.
Now, when you say he was black, was he black
He was
or
black.
was he like light skinned? Like
No, he
was
was he was black.
okay. So okay, I was because when it comes to black people, when we try to describe other black people, we got like
He was chocolate, dark chocolate.
okay, so yeah, he's one of the ones who work out in the field or something like that, right?
This motherfucker. Holy shit! I
Hey, that would be me. That'd be
Y'all
me.
left this unsupervised.
You're right. You're right. You're right. This is your fault. Couple other dudes with confidence. Yeah, yeah. You're right. You're right. You're right, DK. I'm just trying to get clarification. I'm trying to get clarification. Because sometimes if you light skinned, okay, then that could be confused. You know, sometimes depending on the lighting, could
No,
be
no,
confused.
no confusion.
Okay, I mean it's cool. It's
All
cool.
right,
It's cool.
all
I
right.
mean if you caught him in a dark alley, he might have thought that it was a white dude that just the light just was not favorable for him. And so I'm just trying to clarify things. You know what I'm saying? Trying to make sure
I'm with
everything.
you. I'm with you.
Okay, cool. I appreciate it. Thank you. Okay. So
But
anyway, okay, go ahead,
the
continue.
the suspicious part about his investigation, number one, whenever they started searching for him, they found his beanie and one of his shoes by a railroad track. They found another shoe in a construction area, and they found him in the pond at the golf course.
So how far apart were these different findings?
Um, from the house to the tracks was about 1,500 feet or 1,500 yards. And then from, no, it smells like strawberries.
Everybody's wondering why we're laughing. DK never disappoints. Hey, can you smell this real quick for me?
And then from the tracks to the pond is about another 1,800 yards. But if you go where they found his clothes,
Mm-hmm.
but if you go straight from the house that he left to the pond, it's about 1,000 yards. Well, I can't say it because of TikTok. That's why I
Yeah,
can't say it. That's why we have to
yeah,
filter ourselves because they will shut us down.
yeah. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to hit the. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So,
No, I don't actually. But the where his clothing was, what was suspicious about that is whenever they pulled his body out of the lake,
mhm.
his socks were still white. And he had
I mean,
probably a football field of grass that he would have had to have walked across to get to the water. Not to
maybe he stopped by like a Goodwill or something. Got to get
mention
some new socks before he jumped in the water.
at 11 o'clock at night.
I
Sure.
mean, I don't know.
But
They might have some 24-hour Goodwills around there.
number two, he had no water in his lungs.
I mean, that's a problem.
Yeah.
Um, maybe he relieved himself before he got into the water, so that way he wouldn't have any water in his lungs.
Poked a hole in his lungs. So make
I
sure
mean, maybe
make
so that
sure they
way it
don't
would cool
find
himself.
this.
Yeah, yeah. Just in case he said, because he was. I think he was probably saying, hey, I don't want, if something to happen to me tonight, I don't want my mom not to know I didn't have clean socks on, or
No, it's
water in my
supposed to be
lungs.
clean drawers.
Well, that too. Um, I don't know if they checked his underwear or not.
I don't
I don't think
either.
that was in the report.
They might have
But
shit on him.
anyways, yeah, all right. Okay, so those are good valid points because that leaves a lot of questions. Okay, you said roughly about what was the total distance you said?
The total distance that he apparently covered, or that they made it look like he covered, was about 3,200, 3,400 yards.
Okay, and so they found just one shoe in one location and another shoe in another location, right?
Yes.
Okay. So this brings up a lot of questions. If his socks are still white, and somebody would say, well, they found him in the water, so wouldn't the water clean it off? No. Just your socks being, or you personally being in the water doesn't necessarily make you clean if you've been dirty, especially if you're not washing them off. So that brings up a lot of questions. Like, okay, first of all, how did he go this distance? Okay, we found one shoe here, and then I can't remember what you said, how far it was apart where we found the other shoe. But you're talking about they found another shoe. We found one shoe here, found another shoe over here. You know what I'm saying? And then there's another extra, 1,000, 1,800 feet, whatever it was, from where the last shoe was found to where he was found in the water. And it's like these socks should honestly have some holes in them too.
Well,
Um,
one thing that I left out was they got the sniffer dogs out,
mhm.
and they followed his scent. A mile and a half from the house was a bar that they followed his scent to.
Okay.
They pulled the surveillance cameras from that bar and never saw him.
Never at the bar at all.
No.
Huh. So the dogs follow the scent all just to the bar, not into the bar.
Right. To the bar, within 100 feet of the bar.
Okay, so technically he may never made it to the bar.
But this was after he lost his shoes.
Okay, I get that, but that just means he may never have lost, or maybe never got to the bar, or the fact that he might have already been abducted at that point in time.
Yes.
And whoever abducted him at that point in time made a stop at the bar.
It's possible.
So this is after he lost both shoes or just one?
Yes.
So after both shoes, he lost both shoes. And how far was the bar from the water?
The bar from the water was about a mile.
About a mile. So there was another mile that if he had indeed walked there, because I'm assuming he wasn't. Well, yeah, they had to follow suit because he wasn't driving.
Right.
So assuming he had walked there, and then his body's found another mile from the bar. Now it was. I do have to ask this. Okay, so his is in a pond, right? We found him in a pond.
Say something.
Something.
You just hit a lot of static.
I have no idea. I can't hear anything. I don't hear anything crazy on my
Okay.
end.
Now it's gone.
Okay, that's weird. Um, okay, so where the bar was, how close was any type of water to the bar?
I have no idea.
Okay, the reason I'm asking, but he was found in a pond though,
Yes. At the golf
so
course.
there was no water that was actually leading into the pond.
No.
Okay, because I'm like saying, if there's a river, okay, I can see maybe especially right there located towards the bar, adjacent to the bar or something. Okay, he gets thrown into the river. He floats downstream. I can see that. But if you've been found in a pond, this is like this just so far. It's just like a real case of who done it. Like,
Yeah.
this is one of those ones that just makes you want to just, I don't know, put your head through a wall because you're trying to figure out all the details of everything that's going on. Okay. Wow. That's just okay. Um, well, DK, no, I couldn't imagine that. Um,
Sense, not
yeah,
sense.
yeah, yeah. That is, yeah. You got to kind of make that distinguish those two from each other. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. This is just I don't know, bro. This is just a weird case because number one, it's never been solved.
No.
Um, and there's so many different theories out there. Was it a single person? Was it a group of people or a gang? That was so eloquently put earlier. Um, and it's like if that's the case, and here's the thing that was really probably the most disturbing to me out of this Ace is that okay, one serial killer is one thing, but if you're talking about a group that is getting together to do this, that is a completely different type of nightmare
Mm-hmm.
that I don't want to be a part of. You know what I'm saying? Because if you talk about a group, there's usually always one that's probably the smartest one in the group. And if you find people that are like minded, they're usually pretty close to that intelligent level. And then you talk about the people that, if they're close in that intelligent level, they're also close within the likes, the interests, things like that. And you're talking about a group of people coming to do this together, bro. That's disturbing.
More
And
than
the
a little
fact
bit.
and the fact that it's never been solved. I don't even think they've come close to even solving this. I don't know. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do, Ace. Here's what we're gonna do real quick. We're gonna take a real quick commercial break. We'll come back. We'll get a little bit more into this. And like I said, we're trying to make some sense out of this. I don't know if it's gonna happen. But yeah, we'll see what happens. But we'll be right back with more of the Birdman Show after this.
You already know who I am. But if you don't, I'm the Birdman from the Birdman Show. That's my man, main Ace, main. My main man. Anyways, we are from the Birdman Show. And if you've never watched the show, this is a common occurrence. Okay, so don't even trip on it. But we want to take the time to let you guys know that the Birdman Show is brought to you by Restream. Now, with Restream, you can create high quality audio and video content for your podcast. Ace, why don't you tell them a little bit more?
Now, with Restream, what you get is you get superior listening experience with crystal clear audio. Now, you can eliminate the audio drift, and you don't have to worry about connectivity. I mean, there's so much more, but these are just a few of the things that we want to pinpoint. With Restream, the simple and powerful podcast studio, you can easily create your own podcast, and it's effortless.
And I also want to add Ace, that you can connect up to 8 different channels. So like we stream on YouTube, we got Twitch, we're working on TikTok. See that. But we're working on TikTok. You can stream to all kind of different platforms. Get your podcast out there. So head on over to restream.io to start your free account and get to podcast and holla at your boys.
Or, I mean, they could always just like not create their own.
Or you can create your own, but in between time, come watch all.
Yes.
So we want you to do your thing.
But don't forget about us.
Yes, come watch us. Okay. So definitely come watch us every Wednesday, 6 p.m. Central Time, right over on our YouTube channel at Birdman Show Podcast 9643 or over on Twitch at Birdman143. We'll see y'all later. We out. That only took like 500 times.
Yo, what is up, everybody? How you doing? It's the Birdman from the Birdman Show. That is Ace. We're here doing this show. You already know what to do. So why don't you go ahead and do it with us? Bow! Bow! That is right. We are back. We're talking about this episode, which is Ace. I'm finding even with the research I've done and the research I'm hearing from you, I'm finding I'm having even more questions than I had before.
Yes.
But we're trying to. I'm not going to try. I'm going to refrain from saying trying to make sense of this because I don't think there's any sense we can make. But we were talking about the Smiley Face Killer. Um, what? Y'all are really upset that I didn't play that commercial. I don't have to play it the first time every single time, guys. See, Ace, this is why we had the problem. This is why we had the problem. This is why we had the problem. Ace was getting all upset at me because he thought I was just play the commercial just to play the commercial. No, I wouldn't play the commercial. The people want to hear the commercial. That's what they want. Um, Jesus.
That's awesome.
Oh my God. But we are probably this weekend though, Ace. We definitely need to get together. We need to reshoot some of those commercials because obviously we're already on TikTok, so the restream needs to be redone. I might give you the opportunity to redo your Debbie commercial. I might. I don't know. The people really love it. I don't want to give you an
Go ahead
opportunity.
and leave it. I don't fucking care. I
I'm
don't
gonna give you an opportunity to fix it. Ace will probably be back there in his room, looking in the mirror, sweating like, okay, brr, brr. We had a really aggressive bird call. And we don't want an aggressive bird call. We want to invite people. We want to make it inviting for people to come in. Right now, your pew pew is is more inviting to people. So,
yeah.
but we definitely do need to redo the restream one. So we'll look at that. Plus, um, I gotta probably I gotta make a couple phone calls tomorrow. But Hydro hit me up and let me know that there's somebody who's interested in being a sponsor of the show. So I'm gonna try to get that information tomorrow. I've got a couple people up here. Um, with in addition, that's good. I'm glad it did come up. So we are like one step closer to getting the t-shirt business and everything up and running. We got to do a couple of things to get in place. But what we're gonna probably do is I'm gonna sit down probably with Dez. I'm gonna sit down with Ace, and we're gonna figure out what we want to do as far as I mean because we can start doing like pre-orders like for the shirts and stuff like that. Because right now we're gonna be focusing on t-shirts. However, we do have the capability, and we now have a supplier that can. Okay, Christy, relax, relax. I'll get it there. Okay, but we do have a supplier that can actually help us with the DTF and or the sublimation transfers for the logo. And so we'll be able to do, like I said, we're concentrating on t-shirts, but my ultimate goal is to do t-shirts, sweatshirts, and right now kind of focusing on hats as well. So there's a lot of things we're gonna be able to do. We're gonna come up with the price point for all the things that we're gonna be doing. So that's coming up very, very, very quickly. So we'll sit down, we'll kind of figure that out, trying to figure some things out, how we're gonna do these things, and everything like that. So I like to get that kind of discussed and planned out so that we can start making those moves next week. Because the buddy of ours at First Edition here in Pittsburgh, Kansas, um, does a phenomenal job. Number one, we gave some samples, so we're gonna be able to try those out on some other T-shirts, and probably get a couple hats so we can actually try out the hat press part of it. That's the one I'm kind of actually excited to see because as you know, the Birdman loves hats. I love hats um, almost as much as I love shoes. So, and that's a big love. That's a really big love. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. So we can do that. Decals, and I'm glad you said that, Christy, because originally that's what I was going for with one of the other things I did. Was I would love to be able to do decals. So that's another thing we're also going to be looking into. Yes, definitely, Christy, because then you can just have what I'm looking to do is do a decal that has like maybe QRF code on it or whatever, so that if somebody says, "Hey, what's that about?" Hey, just scan the code, and it takes it takes them right to the podcast. So yeah, that's something we're definitely looking at doing. Okay, so Ace, um, Jesus. Okay, so we talked a little bit about this, and in the research I was looking at, they were talking about around 45 different men that were victims of this so-called Smiley Face Killer or killers. Um, but it's also believed that there could be upwards of 700 or more,
Yes.
because we're talking about a time frame between what was it,
97, 2002.
1997 and 2017.
Yeah. No, 20.
Oh, mine said it said 2017. Did yours say something different?
Just a second. Like I said, I was on several different pages.
Oh yeah, no, you're good.
Back.
Like I said, mine said between 1997 and 2017. And that's what. Well,
the 2010s. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so let me put it this way. Let me reframe that. Let me rephrase that. Between 1997 and 2017, authorities pulled the dead bodies of more than 40 young men. So just between 1997 and 2017, they pulled out these bodies. So that alone tells you there definitely could be more, because that's what they found. And this spanned over rivers and lakes in more than 25 cities and across 11 states. So there most definitely could be a lot more victims, and that is beyond scary to actually really think about. So let me ask this question: where did most of these take place? I know I seen New York City. I thought in one of my reports. Was it mainly on the East Coast?
Upper the upper northwest or northeast.
Northwest?
Upper northeast.
Or no?
Because
No.
there were reports in Wisconsin, Minnesota, Ohio, New York, Texas. There was a few cases down in Austin.
Jesus, man.
Yeah.
This is like so ridiculous. Um, and what's crazy is that, and like you said, that they were trying to say there was, like I said, it seemed like an accidental drowning, but Gannon disagreed, and Gannon was one of the
He
retired
was
right?
the lead detective.
Yeah, he's the lead detective on this. Okay, he vowed to the young man's parents that they would discover the truth after retiring from the New York City Police Department in 2001. He enlisted. What is that? What was the other partner's name? I'm looking at him like, is it Duarte?
Uh,
We'll go with Duarte. Um,
Duarte.
Duarte. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't use the French term. Um, so Duarte, his old partner, and they set out to learn what happened to McNeil. McNeil was one of the victims that they had found, and the other young man who had died under similar circumstances under the banner of their nationwide investigations firm. Now, here's the crazy thing. Their official report, Ace, in the case of McNeil, found copious evidence suggesting that someone had killed him and then placed him in the water. Intoxication consistent with drugging, a drugging, a car seen following him after he left the bar. Now that's another thing that gets me is that you're hearing so now in some of these reports that there's people reporting that there was a car following, in this case, this young man, um, following him from the bar. They found ligature marks around his neck. Now, in the other ones, in most other ones, they didn't find anything like that, right?
No.
Okay. So they found ligature marks around his neck. Uh, he had charring on his head and torso, and the fact that his body position in the water was inconsistent with the typical drowning incident.
Did you
Now
say
that was just in
charring?
this particular, huh?
Yeah, charring,
Yeah,
like they burned him.
yeah, that's what it's saying. Yeah,
Okay.
around his neck and torso. And I did watch an episode of River Monsters with Jeremy Wade. If you've never seen that, it's awesome. That could be consistent with electric eel. Um, not in this case. Shout out to the Discovery Channel.
Just one of those tidbits of useless information that's been picked up.
Yeah, it really is. Actually, it's useful if you're around rivers or lakes that have eels, electric eels in them. Be careful.
Yes,
Um,
they,
yeah,
they can burn you
they can. They're
around your neck and torso area.
not just a catchy name for them. That they actually produce electricity. They could charge your iPhone in a pinch. Um,
If you can get him to bite on your cord, that is.
yeah, all you just it's like fishing. You just fish with the charging cord, and as soon as they bite on it, just you plug your phone in real quick. Anyways,
We blame you, Amber. Shit.
oh my god, I apologize. My bad. I couldn't help it. I just couldn't help it. I just had to. But yeah, so what did you see as far as this case or maybe some other cases? You can mention any other cases you want to. Don't have to
I've got a couple of them pulled up right
Go
now.
for
Pittsburgh
Huh?
with an H,
Oh,
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania. I was like,
Yes.
what? I don't remember seeing anything about Pittsburgh in here. Okay.
I mean, we've got Lakeside.
Yeah, this is true.
We do
Yeah.
have a body of water here, and it is a
It
college town.
It is. That's scary. Okay, cool.
We have nothing to fear because we are out of the demographic.
I don't think I just don't feel like too many people want to come to Kansas for any of that. Like, I mean, it's like, I mean, you go to like some of the bigger cities, in some of these other states, and you're like, oh, hey, go ahead and off somebody off, and I'll go down to the shoreline and catch some trout or something. I don't know, or I don't know, or whatever, just go to a nice seafood place, surf and turf. I don't know. I just don't feel like Kansas really offers a lot to people who do things like this. Not to say that we don't have our fair share, because we definitely do. The BTK, was it yeah, BTK?
Yeah,
Yeah, BTK.
Wichita.
You start throwing acronyms out there, and I start thinking about my military days, and I mix up a lot of things. But yeah, BTK, Kansas, Wichita, Kansas, to be a fact. No,
Yeah.
yes, to be exact. So I mean, it's not like we don't have anybody that does that stuff. It's just not a lot. I mean, there's not a lot to do here. So you have to basically be born here in order to do some stuff like that. Which, if you are born here, I can see why you probably would. Anyways, continuations.
One of the first questions a small child asks is why? There's something innate in humans that makes us need to know the reasoning behind things big and small. We need to know why. That same desire to know why has haunted many over a death that took place in Pittsburgh on January 25th, 2017. Dakota James, a 23-year-old Duquesne University graduate student, went missing after being out drinking with friends. Police tracked down his last known whereabouts using surveillance cameras in downtown Pittsburgh. On March 26th, 2017, James's body was found in the Allegheny River. Allegheny Community Medical Examiner's Office ruled his death an accidental drowning. In 2014, Paul Kochu, a nurse at Allegheny General Hospital, suffered a similar fate as Dakota James. Kochu disappeared. Bless you. Kochu disappeared after a night of drinking while watching Monday Night Football on December 16th, 2014. He was last seen at 2:45 a.m. in downtown Pittsburgh near 10th Street Bridge. Okay? Near 10th Street Bridge. On March 20th, 2015, 10 days later, Kochu's body was found in the Ohio River near Wheeling, West Virginia.
Now, Christy also points out that she's in a college town that has a bar and a body of water in Kansas. Where in Kansas? No, I don't want. No, I'm not gonna say that because I don't want anybody. I'm not trying to ask everybody where they're okay. They can tell me privately. But that's crazy. And Etsy, what's up? I see you over on TikTok. I also see you here. You do not have to apologize. We definitely understand. We know what's going on.
No, we don't
And like I've
understand.
always-
We're making this shit up as we go.
well, we understand what's going on with you.
Oh, yes, we understand what's going on in your
Yeah.
neighborhood.
Now this right here, Jesus, yo, this, hey, and I did research on this bad boy, and I like research. I was like, I was cool. I was somewhat comfortable in our research. Then as we started talking about, then A started throwing his stuff, and I threw my stuff in there. I'm like, wait a minute, what in the world's going on here? So yeah, you dropped this in our lap, and thank you because we've been scrolling like all get out, mainly me, because this case is one of those ones. The way my brain rate works, as soon as something comes up, I start thinking like, hey, wait a minute, what's this possibly? So this has been this is an interesting case. So I am thankful that we're doing it. But yes, this is definitely crazy. Go ahead and continue, please, Ace.
In this instance, the authorities reported the cause of death as unexplained or undetermined drowning. People say that once is chance, twice is a coincidence, and a third is a pattern. Sadly, these two murders that took place in Pittsburgh share some resemblance to a string of deaths of college-aged men dating back to the late 1990s. Most of the victims were found in bodies of water. Some sources allege the presence of a smiley face graffiti nearby many of the crime scenes.
Now, I'm gonna be honest with you, Ace. The more and more we talk about this case, I'm torn with struggling with that theory of the fact that it's, I don't want to say a gang, um, but maybe like and I'm definitely not gonna say a cult,
I would.
more like a club. And the reason why I don't want to say, the reason why I wouldn't say cult is
Well,
because
because there's not
there's
just
nothing
one
that's
leader.
there's nothing that's actually, huh?
There's not just one leader.
Right. That's what I'm saying. That's why I don't want to say it's a cult. Like more, it's more like almost like a club.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? If that theory holds and that theory is true, that there's more than just one, that it's a bunch, at least a few, and a few. When I say a few, more than three, maybe four, more than three or four, that
Well,
are getting together doing this.
for the area that they're covering, I'd almost have to say that it's more than just 3 or 4. I mean, we're
Yeah, I'm
talking
with you.
from Wisconsin to New York down to Texas.
Now they don't give like an actual time frame of these deaths, do they?
No,
Okay,
as
so
far
we have no
as
idea,
if some of them happened at the same time.
right, or how like how long it was from one to the next,
Right.
because like in the area you talk, that's a lot of travel. That's a lot of travel in that area, to be able to do that. But at the same time, I'm not going to say it's impossible, because it depends on, number one, when they found them, how long it took them to find them. Because if it took them more than, let's say, a week to find each person in between the deaths, then yeah, a person could travel quite a bit, um, from place to place, commit another one, and then go somewhere else. And basically, the authorities are playing catch up. They're trying to catch up with what's going on. And then, like I said, if you do any type of, this is the thing, if you do any type of variation when it comes to this stuff like that, it really does throw authorities off, because they do try to establish a pattern. And sometimes if the mo of the crime doesn't fit another one, or it may be a little bit off, like, it's not related. But what I've seen in cases before, that one person basically went on a killing spree, unaliving upwards of, I think it was 10 to anywhere between 10 and 20 people, and they did it differently every single time. But it came to find out, after they caught the person, it was one person who just he basically used whatever was there at the time in order to carry out these acts.
Right.
He didn't always use a gun, didn't always use a knife. He just used whatever was within the environment.
He could have
Sometimes he
used a
brought
damn
something with him.
brick.
Huh?
He could have used a damn brick.
Yeah.
If
It,
if
it
that was
didn't.
what was available at the scene when he decided to commit his crime, that's what he used.
Yeah, and that's the thing that got me, was that the authorities never put it together, because it wasn't there was no actual determining mo for the crime. So they thought they were all completely unrelated, until it came, to where they finally started to piece together that all those people that were being unalived all had a connection. And then when they looked at that connection, it started to trace back to this one individual. They found out what was going on, and boom, next thing they know, they caught their guy. But if they never would have been able to come up with that one little piece, problem, that whole crime spree could have probably been unsolved to this day. So
Right.
that's the thing that just really gets me. It's like, I don't know. It is what it is. It's a stop apologizing. Oh, for the love of God, lady.
I have not heard
Um,
anything about a copycat anywhere.
I have not either on mine. Itsy, like I said, this is Amber's story. You can chime in anytime, especially in the comments. If you do feel like you want to jump in, all you gotta do is let me know. I'll have Ace send you the link if you haven't already. I don't remember if you had already.
I have not.
Okay. Well, like I said, you don't have to. It's all good. We know what's going on. We understand. Um, if you do feel like it, let us know. We'll send you the link. You can jump in. If not, you're more than welcome to chime in on within the chat, to definitely help guide us along, like he did that one episode. She's in the comments, and it was steering us perfectly down the waterways of the river as we were chugging along in our steamboat. Okay, but this is really crazy.
In
So now,
Colorado.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Shit.
Amber, I get it. I do. I really do get it. But it's okay, sweetie. We got it. Okay. Uh,
You're good. We got this covered.
Yeah, like I said, chime in. You just chime in on the chat like you're doing now. You're good.
Yeah.
Okay, so um, so hey, you may not remember everything. We don't know nothing. We are on Google like a mug, right?
That we is.
Hey man, like I said, I researched it and I have my notes and everything. This time I put them in the right studio. I even made sure I looked at it like 4 times. I looked at it like 4 times to make sure I was in the right studio. I looked at it like 4 times to make sure I was in that bad boy. But yeah, so but then the rest of it, because I couldn't. I mean, I could have kept putting more stuff in there, but I didn't want to put too much in there.
Yeah. See.
Yeah, I think you might be on the one.
See where it
No, you're
says
not on the one.
700.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I see that now.
That's the ghost of the Smiley Face Killers. 700
So
plus murder victims and no justice.
so were there any? I didn't see any on mine. Did they show that there was anything after 2017?
I have not seen anything.
Okay. And Amber says that she knows more about the Slender Man than she does the Smiley Face. Well then hop on Google like we on Google and send us some information. It's all good. There's more than one way to skin a cat in this Joker. You hear me? Okay, so okay. I'm looking here. Like I said, I did read their official report that they said about him having the literature marks, which was not something that was really talked about or even shown on any of the other victims.
No.
So that could be one of those things where you sit there looking at it like, oh, is this really related? Somewhat the same type of what happened with the other victims, but this one has literature marks. There's charring on his neck and his chest. I don't. It's probably unrelated. Is it though? Yeah. Okay, so what else did you have on your part as far as that is concerned? I know you said you had a couple cases you were talking about.
I'm waiting for my broke iPad to load.
Oh, I was like, what? I was like, mic check, mic check. They get a mic check. They get a mic check.
I heard you.
Okay, I didn't know. I didn't know. My bad. My bad. Um,
Yeah, see, a lot of the stuff that I researched was videos, and there's one guy who actually he traveled the United States to get footage from where the incidents happened. He actually got a hold of the two detectives and had to redo his interview because apparently Gannon um, had to recant his statement or his testimony.
really?
I don't know if somebody had gotten a hold of him and said you can't publish that, but he had gotten a hold of the guy and told him that um, he's not going to be able to air his portion of the interview, and he can't explain why.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, because I'm looking at a couple of different things, and there's one thing talking about the return of the Smiley Face Killers. And this was posted a year ago.
Well, that's all we need is for the fuckers to return.
There's another one that says, "Who are the Smiley Face Killers?" There's another one that's reporting that they think it's more than just one person. Now here's ooh, this is interesting. I wonder if I can get this to play. If I can get this to play, ooh, hold on. Now this one was this has come from Action News now. This was posted what 3 months ago. Ooh, I'm gonna see if I can get this to play. Let me screen share this. Okay, you guys are gonna have to help me out there because we were having some issues with the audio earlier, so I have no freaking clue if the audio is gonna play. So please let me know as soon as you can to let me know if the audio is playing for this. Let's see if we can take a listen and see what we got here.
The sole survivor
Yeah.
of a happy face serial killer, Keith Jesperson, died at the pallet shelter in Chico.
Action News Now reporter Branda Lemus spoke with her daughter about how she wished her mother's death was handled differently.
My brother actually called me from FaceTime to let me know that he had found my mother dead in her pallet shelter.
That's
Like
the
any
Happy
other
Face
daughter
Killer.
might, Stephanie Allen is grieving the death of her mother, Dawn Slagle. Allen describes her mother as a fun.
Yeah, that is. It is
That-
definitely.
that's a different
Yeah.
serial killer.
Yeah. Happy face, smiley face. Yeah. About the same.
I'm like, wait, they're talking about a woman. Something's not
Yeah.
jiving here.
Hey, wait a minute. Hey, that's not right. Okay. Is it this one? Yes, it's this. Okay, this one. Okay, so.
has a new deal we don't want you to miss. Get the new
Where's the? Okay. All right. Let's try this one. Okay. Jesus. Okay. There we go. A new Dawn production.
The Smiley Face Killers.
It's called the Smiley Face Killer.
The Smiley Face Killer cases.
To the Smiley Face murders.
At least 40 healthy young men allegedly marked for death.
Water makes it the perfect crime. It makes it look like a drowning instead of a murder.
It began after dozens of college students all across the country disappeared, only to be found dead, all of them supposedly accidentally drowning after a night on the town.
It expanded across the United States.
Now I'm going to pause that because I want to look at that map again. I want to get a little better look at that map. If it'll let me. Come on.
Okay, play from there.
The Smiley Face Killers.
It's called the Smiley Face Killer.
The Smiley Face Killer cases.
To the Smiley Face murders.
At least 40 healthy young men allegedly marked for death.
Water makes it the perfect crime. It makes it look like a drowning instead of a murder.
It began after dozens of college students all across the country disappeared, only to be found dead, all of them.
So, as we're looking at this, it's it's crazy, and you can't really see my
Yeah, I
mouse
can.
there.
Yeah, I can.
Okay, well, you got like Minnesota. That's all the way over here. You know what I'm saying? So it's, I mean, yeah, we're pretty close, to water here, this and there. But then you got down here, Kentucky. You know what I'm saying? It's like, It's
Like,
crazy.
that's not
that-
Kentucky. I mean, it's close to
I know it
Kentucky.
is.
It's like the
It's
tip of
like-
Indiana.
Well, yeah, it's like right there on the border.
Yeah.
But it's the border of Kentucky and Indiana. But still, how far down it is. Because
Well, it goes all the way down to
we can
Austin.
hear. Yeah, I mean, yeah, and this is just one map. And this might have been when this was compiled was what was going on at that time that they had the information.
Right.
So the other bodies may not have even been discovered at this point in time. Because like it says right there, locations where victims' bodies have been found. So at this point in time, they may not, because like I said, we already know that in the reports that we gave earlier that there were bodies that were found in New York, around that area. There's nothing there, in Maine and all that. There's nothing there.
Yeah.
So those bodies may not have been discovered at this point in time. Another side note, did you see some of those the newscasters there? Like how young a lot of them looked. I like quite a few of them looked at like, oh my god, I can't believe how young they used to look. Yeah, they definitely look totally different now. I'm sorry, I digress.
Supposedly accidentally drowning after a night on the town.
It expanded across the United States, establishing new cells in cities as it went along its way.
Alex Mahoney, 24 years old, his body washed up here at the confluence of the Hudson and East Rivers.
Mason Perkins, who's been missing since last Halloween after a night out drinking with his friends, has been found.
They all tend to be very good looking, very preppy. They're higher than average school performers. They all were last seen leaving bars or parties.
It starts with a series of accidental drownings, supposedly accidental drownings, in which the victims have almost always been popular, athletic young college guys with pretty good grades.
Everyone thinks they're invincible when they're that age. You think there's nothing can happen to you, and that you know best, and no one could possibly tell you anything.
Somebody's slipping them something, typically like a roofie or something like that.
I even heard that they had been lured to vans by girls, so then people were starting to think, oh man, maybe there's girl gang members,
Like a perfect storm of circumstances that come together to create this mutation.
Serial killers are isolates, gangs are collectives. For them to come together like this is so unique.
Their method of killing, they're not torturing and stabbing and doing things like Ted Bundy would do. They're not strangling people. They are drowning people.
The thing that I would like to get across is that the Smiley Face Killers are a real group who are committing real murders, that they've been doing it for some time now and putting their stamp on it, the Smiley Face stamp. They will continue to keep murdering young men unless and until they are finally brought to justice. People are going to have to take this seriously. They can't keep wasting all this time arguing about whether it's real or not.
No, I haven't heard of it.
No. No, I have never heard about that.
No.
I can't really say I heard about them.
No.
Nah, not over here.
Never heard of them.
Don't you have a smiley face on you?
I do have a smiley face. I'm next.
Wasn't it an episode of American Horror Story?
Smiley Face Killer, no, I haven't.
Yes.
Really? I haven't. No, I haven't.
Is that, are those the ones who they kill you and cut your face like into a smile?
Smiley Face Killer.
I have no idea about the Smiley Face Killers.
No clue who the Smiley Face Killers are.
That was the opening to the documentary that my best friend Andrew had been making.
Wait, baby, this guy's going through.
He's in a.
No, I'm just saying you can't go right now. Look at the waves.
Oh my god. Dude, this guy's done. He's done. He's done.
Oh shit, we're not going.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure where it's going with that part. Well, we had to go to the flood parts of they're building the initial part of Noah's Ark. That looks exactly what's going on there.
There's a body of water in the fucking street.
Yeah, so I guess there's about to be some bodies popping up. Okay, so I think what's interesting to me, which I mean, it kind of just goes with the consistency of anything else that goes on in this country. Things like this it's not widely known. What gets me is that, and this was not that long ago.
No, I mean, how was the last?
Kind of like this was back.
The last reported murder was 2017, so we're talking 8 years.
And the thing is that I never once heard anything about it. Yeah, I really do. Or that I didn't hear anything about this. But I never once heard anything about it. And to me, and I know this is going to sound like a rant or a thing, but this is what I feel like is one of the biggest problems I have with America, especially when it comes to the news. When something like this is going on, there should be there should be more. To the point where there's those things we can definitely see more of what's going on. It should be isolated to one part of the country because it's just happening there. Because I mean, how many times we've seen where somebody's committed a crime, hands crime somewhere, and if you're dealing with, they're fleeing from the what?
Yeah, you sound like a robot again.
I don't know. It has to be something with the internet. That's the only thing I can say. Everything else sounds perfect. And once again, guys, remember, it may sound like that now.
Well, it sounds like that on TikTok too.
Yeah, well, I don't know if it was. I don't know. But whatever. The thing is that what gets me is that this is not something that was overly, to me, I would say overly publicized to the point where if you're doing a documentary and you're asking all these people have they ever heard of it, and I'm good, I've never heard of it, but I can't blame somebody for not knowing about something if it was never really brought to their attention.
Right.
And for something like that, where there is a possibility, if one person's talking about it, there's a possibility of a group of people doing this. This is something that should have been most definitely should have been out there. And it should have been brought to more attention. The fact that just not hearing about this case. And like you said, it's only been 8 years since the last body was found. That's a little disturbing. I don't know what are your thoughts on this so far.
Yep. Go ahead and mute.
Gotcha. How we doing, everybody? This commercial is brought to you by Dubby Energy Drinks. Dubby is an energy drink that you mix at home. Dubby is formulated to give you focus and energy with no jitters or no crash. So, their formula contains vitamins, amino acids, and neurotropics, including the patented neurofactors. There are no calories, no sugars, no fillers, and no artificial colors. So if you need something to give you the energy to take on the world, Dubby is what you need. Go to dubby.gg, that's DUBBY.GG to get yours today. Hey, as a special bonus to our followers, if you enter the promo code just Birdman Show, you will get 10% off of your first order. Hey, tell them the Birdman sent you.
Because it is extremely interesting, could save a few lives, and I mean, what else could you ask for?
But after almost 2 years of working on it, he barely scratched the surface of what he originally wanted to do. Everyone he talked with had a different theory as to who was responsible for the killings or why they were doing it, and instead of narrowing down the suspects, the numbers just got bigger. Just like the articles and the news segments that got him interested in the first place. Now there were more questions than ever.
There's no training in how to work these cases. You know, detectives get hundreds of hours on, gunshot wounds, sexual assaults, all sorts of different types of homicides, but there's nothing really out there on water. If you got here and he was laying in that field, what would you do? Well, they would rope it off, they'd secure the scene, they'd bring in detectives, and X, Y, and Z would happen. But the moment that person's found in the river, it doesn't happen.
It's the white whale of law enforcement. It's the Bigfoot, Loch Ness. It just doesn't exist. As much as you want it to, it doesn't exist.
A guy getting drunk and passing out and falling into the river, it's not that strange.
We want whoever did this to our son to answer for what they did. We can't have our son back, but these people need to be found.
I'm so deep in this film at this point, right? Like, even if I wanted to quit, it's impossible. There's too many people, too many uncontrollable variables. That's the problem. Documentary filmmaking, there's too many uncontrollable variables. There's people, there's schedules, there's times, there's locations, there's new stories that develop as you're going through it. There's stories that change, money issues, there's crew problems.
Friday, May 8th, 2013, he was headed to upstate New York to get some more filming done. Following Monday, when he didn't show up for work, no one had heard from him. He was reported missing. That following Friday, May 15th, his rental car was found abandoned in Ravenna, New York, on a small dirt patch on the side of Jarvis Road South. Inside his car was all of his filming equipment. He hasn't been seen since. Before going into more details about his disappearance, it's important to know the events leading up to it, and you need to have a better understanding about his documentary.
My sister will not lick the bowl.
We grew up in Andover, Massachusetts, which is a suburb north of Boston. This is us doing a project in 8th grade.
It's good. It's good, okay?
Who could that be? Jeez.
Hi, I'm from the nudist colony across the street.
We were always playing with cameras and making up stories on the fly. And we'd shoot them on those old VHS cameras where you had to edit onto the tapes themselves as you were filming. After high school, he went away to Ithaca College and majored in film production. A year later, he moved to New York City, where he ventured out on his own as a freelance videographer and editor. In his spare time, he was writing and making movies. He lived a few blocks south of Ground Zero, so that inspired his first short film about an American-born terrorist. Here he goes to a hardware store and then somehow builds a bomb made out of C4. After that, he made Enter Flavius, the story of a guy who didn't just feel blue on the inside, he was actually blue.
Get the fuck out of here!
Years of being tormented finally becomes too much for him, and he just goes on a killing spree.
Recognize how difficult that is on somebody!
Can you again remind me why I agreed to do all this?
His first real attempt at making a movie where he had a crew and an actual budget was his short film Vanished. It was a scary ghost story, and the cinematography looked like a real movie. And it paid off because that won a few awards and got some press, and it ultimately led to him being hired to direct and edit his first feature film called Work It Out.
Work It Out, world premiere.
Wait, what are you?
I'm the assistant director.
Who are you?
The director.
Who are you?
The line producer.
Who are
Casting
you?
director.
Oh, cool.
Work It Out, coming to theaters.
Yeah, theater near you.
The plan was to get enough footage about the East Coast killings to be able to make a trailer to shop around and see if he could get funding for a trip to the Midwest to complete the film. Retired Detective James Anderson is a key investigator in the East Coast killings. He's been the driving force behind these cases since 2005 and is the most knowledgeable individual on the topic. He was a decorated former Boston police officer who started his 20-year career with the force in 1984. In 1996, he was promoted to detective. Then, 2 years later, began working homicide. The day after a chiropractic appointment in 2003 where he was receiving treatment for his neck, he had a stroke and was forced into early retirement.
They don't have a champion looking out for them right now. So I feel an obligation to all of the parents and all the relatives of these victims.
Matt Rickett was 21 years old when he disappeared on May 21st, 2005. He was last seen at Rolf's Pub in North Andover, Massachusetts.
We're in Franklin, Massachusetts. We are getting set to do Mrs. Rickett's interview. It's our first interview. She seems like a nice lady. So hopefully it all goes well.
He'd been in the water for 90 days is what their estimate was. And really the only thing I recognized was this tattoo on his leg that he'd gotten when he was senior and graduating from high school. Just about every sport he's touched, he's been good at, and he really decided late in high school that he was going to focus on the swimming. You know, he won awards, any competitions, and I think I said before, Merrimack gave him a full scholarship for the swimming.
Matt was at Ralph's Pub here on May Street. His apartment was only a quarter of a mile south from there on 2nd Street. His body was discovered on this inlet of the river, 2 miles from Ralph's. Only a few hundred yards behind the pub is the river, but it's not possible that he fell in there because the water flows in the opposite direction from where his body was found.
Well, it was a Friday night. We head to Rolf's, which is pretty much our hangout spot. It was about 10 o'clock. So about 11:30, or 11:30 midnight, I look around and I'm searching for Matt, and he's not around. So I'm assuming that he pretty much got a call from a girl on his phone or something, and I left it at that and didn't really think nothing of it.
There had been no talk about, doing something afterwards. There had been no, reason for Matt to do something unusual. And like I said, Matt doesn't drink, but he's from
And you mean at all?
At all, no.
Never?
Never, ever, no.
Matt is known not to drink. Everybody who knows him knows he doesn't drink, doesn't do any drugs.
He only drank Coke, and he always gave me a dollar tip, even though he wasn't having anything serious to drink.
In the police report, they say that he had become disoriented due to intoxication and then walked down Main Street almost 4 miles, at which point he attempted to cross the Castillo Railroad Bridge and then accidentally fell in. Because of the extent of decomposition, it was impossible to gather conclusive toxicology reports. So police assume that if he was at the bar, he must have been drinking, and that this played an integral part in causing him to fall into the water.
The police thought that he had fallen from a nearby bridge. Well, actually, it wasn't that nearby. It's 3 miles away from Rolf's. There's a bridge called the Castillo Bridge, 60 foot high. There's no reason to believe that Matt would be on it that night. Not only is there a 60-foot drop, but it's into shallow water and there's a rocky bottom. So at the very bare minimum, we would have expected to see contusions, broken bones, and lacerations to his body, but there's none of that. His shirt was tucked in, and he even had a loose shoe on, which is completely inconsistent with the 60-foot drop from the bridge. There's no way that would stay on his foot.
Hey, buddy. So...
How's my sound levels? Test. This is test. 1 tube. Fallopian 1 tube. Really not too sure what we're doing out here, to be honest. I'm game for whatever, I suppose, as long as it doesn't involve anything weirdly sexual.
Well, I've been doing some work on that Smiley Killer film.
Right, yep.
All right, so that's what we're kind of doing here today. doing a little segment on it. Why don't you open up the back for us?
All right, open on the back. There's a torso. It's like extra coolant. It's usually what's in the back of most people's trunks. He's got a leg. It's just a good sort of handhold. Believe it or not, this is not the first time I've done this.
You worked at a store like this?
No, I just had a really creepy uncle.
Okay.
Okay. Hey, I gotta ask a question. And I can still hear it.
I cannot.
You can't?
Nope.
Okay.
You're
All
clear right now.
Okay, well, I'm gonna ask this question. And the question I have to ask is, as you're listening to that, as we're watching this, and they're talking about how he left the bar and he seemed intoxicated, and he was walking or whatever. The common thing that most people think about, and we've said it so far a few times, we've said it. The people in the chat have said it as well. Those wonderful Ruby Pilates or tonics or whatever, however you want to say it or whatnot. Do you know how many different drugs can actually mimic someone being intoxicated?
Yes, a lot.
There's a lot. There's allergy medicine, allergy medication, over the counter. There's a lot of over the counter medication that can do that. So it doesn't even have to be the classic thing we've all said. And you're talking about pain medications like Vicodin, Percocet. I looked at one of these. It didn't really say one of the allergy medications, but there's a lot of different medications that it can easily be slipped into someone's drink. Or unfortunately, if they're in that scene where they might be popping pills, because you remember we're talking about college students, and as much as parents and other people like to think their child is doesn't do certain things, there's a lot of things that we did as kids growing up. As soon as we got away from home, we did a lot more than our parents thought we did.
Absolutely.
So you got to take that. That's got to be out of the factor when it comes to this kind of stuff. You've got to take, as a parent, you got to take that. I hate saying it, but you have to take that out of consideration. That cannot play a factor even remotely in what's going on here, because he was in college, or a lot of these guys are in college, so that scene's going to come up. Hopefully, I would like to believe that he wasn't part of that scene. But if you're going out to the bars, I hate to say it, I don't care who you are, you're leaving yourself open for something like this. Because I can't believe who said that. I think it was Christy. That Christy had said. And I'll put up here. Yeah, you don't know who you can trust, and that's the thing is you don't know. It could be somebody you know, or if you're going out to a bar, it could be somebody. It could be completely someone you don't know who has ill intentions. This is the more and more that we talk about this case, man. The more we look at these videos and stuff, dude. The more and more I'm like, really, what is the point of going out anymore? I mean, Ace, I mean, I don't, so I'm not really that worried about it. It doesn't really bother me. I don't really care. I like being at home.
Yeah, I don't either.
So it's like whatever. And like when I do go out, especially now, I mean, I don't really drink to that point anymore. But it's like, yeah, Chrissy, like Benadryl. Benadryl is definitely a big one. Benadryl, if I'm having huge problems with my allergies and I know I'm going to have to take one of my Benadryls, I completely cancel anything that I have to do the rest of that day. And I'll take those pills early enough to where I know I'll at least be able to sleep. But it's not gonna make me as drowsy in the morning when I get up, because yes, those things do put you. They'll put you. Yeah, I'm right there with you there, Amber. In this one right here, it makes me never want to go out either. Uh, I don't know. I've never had one of those, DK, but I will. I'll take your word for it. Yeah. Um, yeah, unless you're expecting something. Yeah. And that's the thing is like,
What exactly does nap time taste like?
I don't know. Like that, I don't know. That's a good. It tastes different for everyone.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those things that just this bothers me more than just what we're talking about with this case. It bothers me on a lot of different levels, and this is just. I think what bothers me, Ace, the most about it is what somebody else said earlier. I don't remember who it was. I'm gonna try to see if I can find it. But someone had mentioned because we were talking about the um, the coverage area of these cases.
Right.
It's right here, and it was Christy. Um, and she'd asked the question: did they say a copycat anywhere? In which you answered no. They in your research it didn't. In the research I looked at, no, they never say anything like that. Um, but that sparks off the fact that what if somebody else looks at this as a blueprint and they look at this as a theory and they say, hey, I could probably find at least 3 or 4 like-minded people like me, and we can recreate this. Matter of fact, we can do it better. That's what is now playing in my head. That's what plays in my head now, especially if, like, say, well, in this case, they were targeting young men, but they could change the MO completely
Right.
and just start targeting women. They're targeting anyone, any age. You know what I'm saying? So now, for somebody like me, who's always on the fence anytime I go somewhere, yeah, I do. With something like this, yeah, I could start worrying about it like Dez has to go somewhere with mom or with the baby, or somewhere else, and I'm not there. Because I'm constantly scanning any and every area I'm in. And I know they don't. So it's something that does concern me. And this is something that would definitely concern me, especially if they're talking about going somewhere. And I'm not going to be there because I know 100%, as much as I love Des, does not pay attention whatsoever when it comes to keeping an eye out for things around her because it's not something she's used to doing in that sense. I do that with anybody. I do that even though I go to my own, if I'm at a family function with my own family, I'm still constantly scared. I don't trust them fools either. No, I'm playing. I let y'all.
Maybe Anthony.
Huh?
Maybe Anthony.
Yeah, I trust him a little bit. I trust him just a little bit. But no, but that's serious. Like, and I don't want this to come off like I don't know. I'm just gonna say it. I don't really care how it comes off, ladies. You got to understand the difference between being with a man that is protective and someone who's trying to be controlling. That's a huge difference. There's a lot of women out there that like to call their man being controlling, and they don't realize that the 9 times out of 10, none of y'all are paying attention to anything else that's going on around you. You're usually off on your cell phone. You're checking your freaking makeup. You're doing other things. Sometimes you are paying attention to your kids, but you're not paying attention to anything else around you. And sometimes it comes to some of these factors where you're sitting there, and like I said, we're talking about the victims are men, but in this case is not the vast majority of cases that we deal with. We deal with a lot of our cases. We deal with women are the victims. And a lot of it could be avoided by just making sure you're paying attention and being aware of your surroundings. This thing really bothers me, Ace. Like, this case really bothers me because there are so many different things. And like I said, I'm really this comment from Christy really bothers me because there are a lot of people that are out here on the internet that can see stuff like this, and they can go back and look at even more details from other researchers and stuff like that, and they can sit there and say, you know what, I can do that. I can do it better. Hey, they never got caught. I can give some other people, and we'll never get caught. And now the cycle starts all over.
Right.
Dude, I don't know. I'm sorry. I didn't. This is just really bothering me. What are your thoughts on what's going on here with this?
It's sad that they are initially deeming them as accidental drownings without even doing any research, without doing any investigating. Hell, in the very least, do a fucking autopsy. See if there's any water in the lungs. And for there to be so many, even if it is just the 45 and the 700, is just speculation because of similarities in the MO. Even at 45, that's 45 people that were listed as either unclassified, undetermined, or accidental drowning that an investigation wasn't done on. Because, oh, well, this isn't the crime scene. This is just where we found the body. But you still have to work the body. And it's just lack of initiative, I guess. Fuck, I don't know. But
well, it's like I think it's like what we said before, and I know I've said this many times before. In a lot of stuff, even with and I hate saying it, even with some of these people in law enforcement, unless it's something that directly affects them, it's almost like it's kind of secondary.
Right.
And I 100% agree with you with a lot of these cases. There was no autopsy. They really didn't find out what was really going on. So I have to agree with you. Did they even really look at anything?
Probably not.
I mean, they were just, oh, it was accidental death or accidental drowning. Case closed. Like, did you double check? And then to have the family was like, hey, they didn't really drink. Like, and like I said, I get it. You may think you know your child.
Well, the thing of it is, though, is the bartender. Bartender even said that whenever he was at the bar, all he had was Coke.
And he's over the age, so it's not like he had to have anybody sneak him a drink.
Right.
So, I mean, you can just rule that out.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's the case, if you're saying that all he had was a Coke and he's walking out like he's intoxicated, you might want to check that Coke machine. Because I don't.
Might be time to change the lines.
Yeah, something wrong with carbonation. Carbonation ain't right.
Carbonation's fermented.
Yeah. Somebody might have switched hoses on you or something there, brother. But yeah, it just doesn't. It doesn't make any sense. Like, okay, if he's always drinking, all he had was a Coke, then how's he stumbling out the bar?
Yeah.
So yeah, this is just. Yeah, and Chrissy says, especially with it being a man. I don't. Like I said, I'm having a tough time with this because I'm listening to this case, but my mind is really kind of it's racing because this is 2025. The last body was found in 2017. And they never caught anyone. They never connected anyone to this case.
Nope.
Which means they are still out there. So that bothers me beyond belief. It does. It seriously bothers me beyond belief. Um, that's probably what it was. Yeah, I don't know if this case is in Philadelphia somewhere. But yeah, I think he got a Diet Cosby instead of a Diet Coke. Um, that might be a thing. Maybe they're serving pudding there. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Okay, so I do want to take a look at this demonstration that this guy is about to do. So let's take a quick look at that. We'll look at that. We'll do another quick commercial break. Ace, when we come back, um,
Do another quick commercial break. It's already 8 o'clock.
I know. Oh yeah. I don't know why I was thinking. I don't freaking know, bro. I don't know. It's been a day. Hell, it's already been a year so far. Okay, here, no commercial break. I do want to look at this guy's demonstration real quick, and then when that's over, we'll start wrapping this bad boy up because I don't know what time frame I was looking at. Yeah, I jumped in somewhere else, the multiverse somewhere. Okay, I had to pause it real quick. I'm a little concerned with how close they're standing to this mannequin. Like that's. I mean, okay, we'll just play it.
We are going to be doing an experiment where we actually are dropping Chester from about a 60-foot bridge.
Really?
And then they named him Chester?
Well, you know what rhymes with Chester.
Yes, we know. We know. We definitely know. I think they are the Chesters.
Yeah.
Yes.
Shit.
Yes. So we're going to drop him and we're testing 3 things, okay? The 3 things are 1, his loose shoe.
Okay.
Does it actually come off after he falls?
All right.
2, his shirt will be tucked in. Does his shirt come untucked?
All right.
And 3, will he get any markings on his body?
Uh-huh. You know, he's clean, no bangs, no cracks, no dents, nothing like that. You can see that the ropes are hanging pretty loose in the front here, and they're not affecting the ability for the shirt to come untucked. He's got a loose shoe already. His shoe's nice and loose on this one. It's not tied. If you told me I wouldn't get a bruise jumping off this bridge, I'd do it right now, but I find that very hard to believe. So I expect this beautiful man to be a little less beautiful after the first few tries, so. All right, Chester. I feel sorry for your mother. Oh! Oh, he lost both arms. They're floating downstream. Oh, yeah, dead kid.
Oh, fuck. Oh, we should have planned on that shit.
So this is a little surprising here. So shoe's still on. No, didn't come off. Feels about the same. Believe it or not, shirt looks like it's still tucked in too.
Oh yeah, right here.
Yeah, he basically shattered his hip. That would be a pretty bad thing for.
Dude, his whole torso fucking spun around.
This crack right here. Remember I said he's a little dirt smudge, but he definitely gonna have that chip right there. Right here, you can see these abrasions.
Oh, he does have that D-Wade fade.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, those were already there. His hairdresser gave him those.
Oh. Son of a bitch.
Yeah. That's how you retrieve a body, motherfucker.
Okay, I've got to stop that because those two are really
They're enjoying that a little bit too much.
Yeah, I I do appreciate it because I mean it does raise some questions on that, but I was feeling mildly uncomfortable
Just
watching
mildly.
that. I'm trying to be, I don't know. I was very
Creeped out.
uncomfortable. Yeah, I was a little, yeah. Like, wait a minute. Did they do it? I was, I was, I was like, what? Did I just watch the reenact what they what they did? Like, okay. Anyways, I'm sorry. Okay. All right, Ace. Okay, so
I got nothing.
we talked. Yeah, we talked about quite a bit here. What are your thoughts on this case here?
Um, my thoughts are that all of the accidental drownings probably weren't accidental drownings. Now, I'm not saying that somebody's not a dumbass and tries to walk home drunk, going across a bridge and falls over. It happens. But for that many people to accidentally drown falling off a bridge, even if there is plenty of water underneath.
Yeah, so yeah, DK, I'm with you. I do sound like that when I try to tie my shoes. That's why a lot of my shoes are just slip-ons.
But there's too many coincidental ones that were just ruled accidents that should have been investigated. But that's all I got to say. Yeah, he did
Yeah,
say it wasn't his first time.
yeah, he did say that. Which is, I mean, like I said, that's a little sus. Ace, I can't disagree with you on any of that. I just can't. It's just to me, and I'm not talking about a theory, like being part of the conspiracy theory or this and that, whatever you want to say. This does not feel like a one person job.
No.
It just does not. The way that a lot of the stuff is carried out over the territory, if you want to call it the area in which these um, killings took place. That's a large area. I mean, that is just a very large area. Now, unless we can hopefully, I would say hopefully between now and the recap tomorrow, because I am very interested in this, extremely interested in this now. I'm really going to try to look to see if I can find if they give a time frame for all this. The time between if they never did discover that, if they could ever actually establish that, I really would like to know because that could tell us a lot as well. I know
Exactly.
they said from 1997 to 2017, they found over 40 bodies. But that doesn't necessarily mean they all happen in 97 or 98, or if there's a time between 97 and 2001 where they didn't find any bodies and they found 5 bodies, and then you know what I'm saying? Like there's
Right.
no real definitive time frame. I really want to know that. It's if you have that information or you know where you can get that information, please let us know. If anything, if you can tomorrow, like I said, we're gonna have the recap tomorrow. Join the studio tomorrow and we can do the recap. Like I said, if not, just if you find that information before I do, please let one of us know so we can try to have that information for the recap tomorrow because I really want to know. Because to me, if it all happened in a short span of time, and they were able to determine the time of death on all these victims, then that tells me a lot. If they were close in close proximity in time, then that really tells me that this was coordinated by more than just one person, more than three. I'm be honest, more than three or four people. I believe there was quite a few people involved if this is that type of thing. So I'm very interested to find out about that. Ace, Okay, no problem, no problem. Um, Ace, do you have anything else you'd like to tell the people before we get up out of here?
Once again, thank you for the support.
Yes, most definitely. We really appreciate you guys. Like I said, be on the lookout for the Birdman Sports Podcast, which we're going to be going put implement here pretty very quickly. You can catch us on our TikTok profile as well as our YouTube profile at Birdman Sports 247. Don't forget if you have any show ideas, topic ideas. First of all, join us tomorrow for the recap. Where we have a portion of time within the recap where we ask anybody out there if there's any topics, show topics that they would like to talk about here, or possibly even join us on the show. Definitely reach out to us on TikTok. Reach out to Ace. Reach out to myself. Ace is TLB Ace on TikTok. Mine, of course, is Birdman Show. But you can also email me at tbs.birdman at gmail.com. Don't forget that you can catch this episode as well as our past episodes on the audio version of the show on our Spotify channel by just going to the Birdman podcast. I have been uploading the audio version of it, not only of the show, but also the recap. So you can actually, that's dangerous. You can actually not only can you also get the audio version of the podcast, you can also get the audio version of the recap, which is so dangerous, and I'm really starting to regret that I did that. But I did it anyways. Whatever, I don't care. It's all good. So definitely go check that out. Like I said, the recap is tomorrow at 6 p.m. Central Time, right here, same channels, TikTok, Birdman Show or Birdman Show, and right here on YouTube at Birdman Show Podcast 964. I don't know about you, Ace, but I'd almost have to give. I think I'd have to give the super chat fan to Christy. Is that who you're thinking?
Sure.
I'm just going by like the engagement and the content and the content and the comments and everything like that. As I was going off of, and that was throughout from start to finish.
Yeah.
That's what I was going
I'm good
with.
that.
So how many is that now? Christy's got it a couple times. 3? Christy got it 3 times. Oh my goodness. She said, I'm trying to go for the big prize. See, I don't just want a t-shirt. Let me get a hat. Okay, Christy. All right. Okay, girl. I see you doing what you're doing, girl. You go ahead and do your thing. But Christy is our super chat fan for this episode of the I definitely got to check something out, though, real quick, Ace. Yeah, I got to just check to make sure everything's going on with this, and all that good stuff. This has been, I don't know, that sounds weird to me. I don't think I like that. I don't think I like that one. I might have to go back to my old one. Anyways, this has been a really, I don't know how to describe this episode, Ace. It wasn't, I guess it was somewhat disturbing, but it was definitely interesting in hearing this stuff. So I really don't know how to classify this one. It wasn't an overly weird one.
It was informative.
It was definitely that. So I think we'll just leave it at that. It was just a very informative show. I'm very thankful for everybody who joined us, showed us the support and love. We love you guys so very much. Like I said, we'll see you guys tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Central Time for the Birdman Show recap. I am the Birdman. That is Ace for his absence as well. Hydroception, and of course, Amber, aka Itzy, who could not join us tonight. But thank you for this topic. We love you very much. I'm the Birdman. That's Ace. You already know what to do. Do it with us because we are.